It's the Man Eater channel, and this guy before you is Jumaane Willaims. He is New York City's fifth public advocate. Okay, so that's a fairly new position that we don't need. We need Elon to come in and phase out these useless positions that we have in New York City. Okay, Jumaane Willaims, the public advocate, he's of Grenadian lineage, and he seems to be vested solely in securing a better life for criminals and undocumented felons. And his career path represents that. He is one of the Wall Street protesters. Occupy Wall Street is right down there. And that is a time when you had people living in an encampment and they were just terrorizing people around them and horrifying corporations, smearing feces on ATMs, peeing and defecating all over the place, and fighting for corporations to give them something. Okay. So he was elected with 33% of the vote overall, and that's not much. But this guy is a true problem for Americans like myself. Him, coupled with Eric Adams, the mayor, Governor Hochul, people like that are a problem for Americans like me because they are a rest haven for illegal aliens and they support it tremendously. And I want to show you how. Because, people know New Yorkers for being people who stand up and fight for this. They fight for the unions and they fought for this and that. And then you get to now when you wonder what happened. Well, let me show you what happened, if you want to. And it is a guesstimate, and they got the information. It shows you right here from the Pew Research Center using data from the U.S. Census Bureau. And this was based on statistics in 2021. So I can update you as it pertains to the NYC. But just look here. In total, they have 10.5 million, right? And this is not including the gotaways. So, look at this. This is sad. Look at Cali, look at Texas, Florida's down here with just, it's just sad, right? And a lot of these areas, they have it as, 600,000 in the state of New York, but really, it's the city of New York, and it's 750,000 before the buses. We're at a million now. We should be at about a good million now, based on the numbers that they were putting in. If we are to believe them, then New York City should be at about a million undocumented people. Okay. So that's why you don't hear much of the fight, because the fight has been washed and pushed out. A lot of people got fed up and walked away. Some people were forced out, whatever. And then it's just a small amount of us here who, we don't really get together. Like, people get together with their families, pretty much, but nobody's really like pushing forth anything. If anybody's doing anything, it'll be these Pan African and these Hebrew Israelite people, and but Black people as a whole, or Americans as a whole, Negroes as a whole, we are not. We don't have the numbers like that, and for the amount of us that are here, we're just not politically savvy enough to get anything going. I mean, I am, but so that's why I partnered up with people across like the country or whatever, and we just kind of do what we do, and we don't have a group or anything like that. We just know what to do. It didn't take us a million meetings and getting together, everything like that's like kind of common sense, and then you do what you need to do, legally or whatever. But yeah, we're at 750,000. So as you do this here with all of these undocumented illegal aliens, once you do that, you wash out the fight, because they're just going to be subservient to whatever's going on because they want to stay. And that's what the goal is, to have everybody here kind of subservient to them so that they'll continue to vote for them. But I want to show you a piece of legislation that Jumaane was working on here. Yeah, so this is the type of legislation Jumaane Willaims. I'm just gonna say Williams because Public Advocate Willaims of NYC is working on this type of legislation right here, and it's a local law to amend the administrative code of the city of New York in relation to requiring a report on voter registration in city jails. And see, all my life, I was told that once you went to prison, you lost the right to vote, which I understood as being punishment for what you did when you were in free society. So you lose your privileges. I had no idea 44 states register, including DC, of course, register inmates to vote. So I did not know that was going on. And see, their complaint, the Democratic perspective is, well, they're not registering enough, probably Democrats, because the more intelligent people in prison probably know how to go through the process and obtain their documents so that they can go ahead and want to register to vote, whereas you have a population who might be illiterate and really don't know how to obtain these documents. And that's across the board. I'm not being racially, I'm a Negro, and I'm not trying to just point the pen at us. I'm just talking about across the board, because here in New York City we have all type of illiterate ethnicities here, and you can get that data from the school statistics or whatever. But yeah, this is what he is doing, because the Democrats have figured out that they can control the prison population vote. And this is why they shouldn't be voting at all, because that's very, very dangerous to do that. I'm all for returning rights to people when they serve their time and they complete it. If you're on probation, you complete your probation and you've done all your requirements. Restoring that person back to their civil rights, I believe, should be mandatory. They have certain restrictions, um, or whatever, different states, depending upon the type of felony that you move. But you can always leave that state if you so choose to please to do that, and you can go somewhere else and get those same rights to vote or whatever. And I'm for that, but I'm not for registering people in prison, because they could very well off buy those prisons you have. Now you got to worry about politicians really going there, which they've probably been doing because it's legal in 44 states, and soliciting some of these votes and things like that. That's how they got, and that makes sense how they got the transgender therapies, because who would have thought of somebody being in prison and getting a transgender reconstruction surgery. But if I'm in there soliciting votes, then I could say, oh, I could use, the gay guys. They want this, they want to get that. So that's something for me to campaign on, and I could get, people on the outside and inside. So this is very dangerous. I had no idea. And it's something that we better pay attention to. But this is what our public advocate, who's supposed to be championing for the people, making sure we're safe, worrying about us, and he hasn't for the last past 4 years. People are getting robbed to this day. These all these people that they are concerned about, they are eating, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, but they are eating. Don't cry for me, Argentina, because the people are just fine, you know? And I don't really know what that means, but it's just, I'm just using it as a statement. So I don't want to disrespect nobody from Argentina, but I'm just saying, like, these people are not in no dire straits, and that's what they're going to be crying about, money and this and that and all type of things as they are moving them along out of there. But people like him are very dangerous, because he's looking to obstruct Trump. And if he does get in to this, Trump won. President Trump has been mandated. We have Tom Horman, Tom, out here saving us or whatever, and they should not be obstructed in the city of New York. They should be allowed to do their job or whatever. But this guy is going to be a problem, and hopefully they have something lined up in a way to deal with him, because that's all he's been doing, and I'm tired of him. I'm for giving everybody a shot or whatever, but I'm tired of this dude, because all he does is advocate for undocumented, illegal aliens and criminals. If you commit a crime, you do something terrible to somebody, you need to go to prison and sit down and cool off, so that when you return, maybe you appreciate your freedom. I'm for that. I'm not for railroading people into jail who have a chance to fight their case. Maybe they're guilty. They're not guilty of what they're being accused of. And we should give them the opportunity to represent themselves. But once you got the facts and the evidence that this person is a criminal, I don't understand what all the damn advocating is for. And that's what they are advocating for in New York City. Criminality, and he's a big part of it. Okay? So I want to show you too how you know that they don't have to worry about benefits, and how they're doing a little bit of lying here to this too. Um, This website has been around, just in case anybody tries to say that this might be new information and this occurred during the influx, the invasion, or the buses coming in or whatever with more undocumented people. But no, and I actually used this as a reference point when I was debating someone back and forth on Twitter. Okay, when before it was X. So that's how long ago this has been posted up, and that was a few years ago. So this is how long this information has been here. Longer than that. As a matter of fact, this is Bloomberg's baby. He created this site. So you can go back and do the math on when Bloomberg became the mayor, because he created this site. Okay, so this is fact and this is the real site. It's nothing fake. There's no AI, nothing. This is the real site. And so regardless of whether Mayor Eric Adams has ended the Visa card program, they are still eligible for benefits. And here's how. Immigrant eligibility. I am undocumented. Can I apply for benefits for myself and my family? Yes. Everyone has the right to apply for our services. Of course. You do not have to be a citizen or a legal permanent resident to Joe. What that says to Joe? To be eligible, excuse me, I'm sorry, the sunlight is shining on my screen. A legal permanent resident to be eligible for services. You may be eligible if you have another immigration status. Undocumented immigrants may be eligible for certain benefits and can also apply on behalf of their children. See our community guide to public benefits for immigrants for additional information, because that ain't enough information. But you see right here, and then they tell you, oh no, they don't get anything. We work for everything. Especially when they talking in New York City, they be talking lies. And people just fall for it and believe it. Here it is right here. Can't deny this. NYC Human Resources Administration, Department of Social Services. Can't deny that. So even with the visa cut off, guess what? Even with those Visa cards on and funded, they could still apply for these benefits. So stop. And then think about how much money that is. So don't cry for these people, because they're going home with money. They're going home with some money in their pockets, and good for them. As long as they're going home, I don't care. And this stuff about just think about all the money that went into all of this for illegal aliens over the years, right? And you had struggling working people who couldn't get a dime. Even some of the people who work for this human resources, they need benefits sometimes. They can't get anything. They work for the city and can't get nothing. But you will invite everybody in and just, yes, everyone has the right to apply for our services. This is how you wash people out of New York City. And what they have is a propped up base on undocumented people paying state and local taxes and having the federal government subsidize the rest. And that's how they've been able to pull this shit off. But it's teeter-tottering or whatever. And let it fail. They should let New York fail. And meanwhile, be getting these undocumented people, because New York will come back to life, because you know what you were produced in? Just imagine if they got rid of 400,000. I know I'm high hopes and I know it's not going to happen, but just imagine if they got rid of 400,000 undocumented illegal aliens out of New York City. How much housing that would free up. And I know y'all tired of hearing about New York City homeless problem. I know people are tired. Damn, every time you turn around, New York homeless. This one homeless. The goddamn veterans are homeless. They can't even go out. They used to could make a little extra money on those tables out there, but the table competition is so steep in New York City. It's crazy. The veterans can't make a damn dime out there. And they have to be draped in flags, and we damn near wear their military uniform for you to identify them. When before you knew exactly who they were. You knew that those were, military guys, veterans. But today, please, you got to put your uniform on. You want the support from Americans, put it on. But it's sad, but that's how they pull it off. That's how they've been pulling it off and acting like, oh, these people making all this money, but the federal government is subsidizing what they don't make. When you could just have Americans here paying the taxes, working on these jobs or whatever like that. Because in New York, like I said, there's not a lot of agriculture. There are services, home health aid services, nursing services, or whatever like that. And we can bring that roaring back. But for some reason they want to keep an undocumented population because they'll be subservient to them. They won't buck back too much. Everything is okay. If you ever watch the news, every time, with the congestion pricing, you had dummies talking about, well, we got to pay a little more or whatever. And that's what they want in New York City. They don't want people really, bucking back. They want people to be subservient. And if you are subservient, then you will be rewarded. You won't be blacklisted. But if you buck up against them, you're going to get the cold end. And if you don't know how to survive and, not solicit, but, provide your services outside of New York City and thrive and make a little money outside of New York, then you'll be effed here. And so last thing I want to show you is what they did to the youth, because they love to talk about the gang bangings of the youth, and especially when you get to the American Negro children. And I'm not backing gang banging. I'm not backing it. But what I do want to make a point right here. So let me just show you youth and why are the youth so rambunctious in New York City? Why is they, gang banging? Why is it this? Why is that? Well, here you go right here. 1 billion right here. The federal government spends 1 billion in funding year 2023 and 2.3 billion in funding year 2024 on NYC undocumented ESL students. New York State has committed. That's Albany. Here's where the state comes in and what the hell are they doing? New York State has committed 4.3 billion in funding for asylum seeker course statewide. So that's 5 point something billion dollars that they're gonna waste on undocumented people. That's a waste of money because these people aren't citizens. They aren't under our jurisdiction, and they're spending all this money on people that are not under our jurisdiction. But if you want to know why the youth are so restless in NYC and why it doesn't seem like they don't have anything else to do but gangbang and get themselves killed riding on trains and elevator shafts and things like that, this is why. Because this money could actually be spent on summer youth jobs, training for high school students, like AI training, for students who are interested in that, robotics, things that will push them forward in the world and society would be great. But instead, we're going to spend all this money on something that people could just get on YouTube, Rosetta Stone it, I don't know, go to the public library and learn English. If you're here undocumented and you're here illegally, you should do your best to learn English, because if I were in one of these countries, if I couldn't communicate, I'd be on my own. So this is why the youth are so restless, because all the funding that should be invested into their growth is being funded into English as a second language for undocumented students. How they are able to do this, how are they able to compensate these workers? How can they have them on these jobs? What is going on? Well, we're back at New York City's website here, official website. Immigrant workers. Workers in NYC are covered by many labor and employment laws, regardless of immigration status. And you can get an overview of the worker protections available to you. Below are additional information helpful for immigrant workers. Because screw you, the American worker, the United States citizen worker, screw you. Okay, and mind you, these people have a union. This is why I say it's not all about agriculture or whatever, because we could get the robots to do agriculture. The government can build up a whole bunch of robots, lease them, sell them. That's a stream of revenue. Elon's up there. Take advantage while you got him there. Do that. I heard somebody say non-violent offender inmates could also work. That's good. Great idea. Between them and the robots, boom. And the rest of these jobs, Americans will have to do. That's it. Because a lot of people don't want to go out and pick, the tomatoes. They don't want to pick this. They don't pick it. Get the robots. Get the, until you can get the robot system thing going. Free idea, courtesy of me over here. Take it, run with it. I don't have the financial backing to make it happen because I would. If I was a billionaire, that's what I'd do. I'd be, oh, they have a problem in agriculture? Let's get the robots. And they'll be able to sustain cooling, heating, rain, snow, whatever conditions you need those robots to be out there picking stuff for you, they'll be out there. That's free labor. It will pay for itself. That'll create a stream of revenue for the farmers and the government because the government can lease out the robots. That's a stream of revenue coming in for them. The farmers can buy them and purchase them, and just having the free labor, which people seem to love, will you'll profit. You'll see the profit over the years. So let's get that done. It's a fascinating idea. I'd like to see it happen. Okay, so then you don't have people doing that along with this 14th Amendment birthright. We get that going, and that cuts the spigot off completely. And this job protection thing, it's a shame. But like I said, they want a subservient class here, so they realized they had to reward them. They had to give them reasons to stay here. They had to give them reasons to say, regardless, I'm gonna just play along. I don't have to become a citizen because they're gonna give me job protection. They're gonna give me benefits. They're gonna allow me to probably vote. Nobody investigates New York. Everybody lets New York just run amok. So we don't really know anything here. And like I said, if you peel back the curtain, and in my opinion, there are probably more undocumented people in New York City than there are citizens and Americans here. Undoubtedly, I believe it. So, this is how they get the jobs out here, and this is how they're protected. Because regardless of your immigration status, you'll be protected under these employment laws and labor laws that, citizens and Americans work for. And you had they're using immigrants, but the immigrants who fought for these rights had a reason to be here. They were under the jurisdiction of America, so they had every right to fight for rights for themselves because they lived here. And they were documented. You knew who they were. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you can have rights. And what Jumaane is doing is wrong. His position should be taken away from him because you advocating on the premises that these undocumented people deserve so much, you know, access to resources and so many programs. And for felons, you're not really invested in rehabilitating them. You're more invested in making sure that there's a rotation in and out of prison, if you ask me. Because if you allow people to continue to commit crimes, that's just going to land them back in prison. If they don't learn their lesson, then I'm just going to go right back in, which increases recidivism, which I thought Democrats were against. But clearly they're not. So I'm ended here. Like, this is enough information for people to share. I'm not about all of the playing games or whatever, so I just like to give straight information so people could get it and share it so they can know what's going on in New York or whatever, instead of going around just assuming and making statements that are not factual. So, share this or whatever. And you see Jumaane, I was about to call him Jumanji. If you see Jumaane Williams or whatever, you're online, you see his account, ask him why hasn't he advocated for the citizens, for the Americans of New York? Why is it only about criminals and illegal aliens? Why is he so vested there? And I am gone.